Vinney Tolman, who was clinically dead for 90 minutes, shocked the public by revealing his near-death experience. He claimed to have seen future events, like 9/11 and the 2008 financial crisis, and encountered deceased loved ones in a peaceful, light-filled realm. His story challenges traditional views on the afterlife and has sparked curiosity about consciousness and life after death. Vinney Tolman, a man from Utah, was just like anyone else until the day his life took a dramatic turn. What started as a typical day quickly turned into an extraordinary event that would forever change the way he understood life, death, and the world itself. He was a young man in his 20s enjoying life when suddenly he collapsed. Doctors later confirmed that he had died, his heart had stopped beating, and his body had ceased functioning for a full 90 minutes. But what happened during that time defies everything we know about life and death. When Vinney's body was clinically dead, he experienced something that many would call impossible. He wasn't just unconscious or in a coma, he was completely aware of everything around him. During this period, Vinney found himself in a place that felt more real than anything he had ever known. It wasn't a dream, nor was it a hallucination brought on by a lack of oxygen. He described it as a vibrant, conscious experience, one that felt like he was awake in a completely different realm. What was so shocking, and what sets his experience apart from others, was the visions of future events that he witnessed during this time. Vinney wasn't just wandering in an afterlife or having a spiritual experience. He was shown things, real things, that hadn't happened yet, but would soon come to pass. The first major event he saw was the tragic September 11th attacks. Vinney saw the images of the planes crashing into the Twin Towers, the smoke billowing into the sky, and the chaos that followed. But this wasn't just a vague vision. It was as if he was right there in the moment, witnessing it all unfold before his eyes. And it wasn't just the 9/11 attacks. He also saw the economic collapse of 2008, the financial crisis that would devastate millions of lives. At the time, these events seemed distant, almost inconsequential to him. But in the moment of his NDE, it all felt so real. These visions weren't predictions in the conventional sense. They felt like they were being shown to him, as though he was being given a glimpse into the future. In these visions, Vinney wasn't merely a passive observer. He was deeply affected by the knowledge of what was to come. It was as though he was meant to witness these events, to understand that they would soon be a part of the world's reality. During his time in the afterlife, as he witnessed these future events, Vinney wasn't just experiencing visions of destruction and chaos. He was also experiencing profound moments of insight and understanding. He could feel, with an intensity he had never known before, the deep connections between all people. He began to understand that the events of the future, both tragic and triumphant, were part of a larger picture, a cycle that was beyond human comprehension, but deeply tied to the way the universe operated. There was a sense of purpose behind everything he saw. Everything had a reason, even if it was hard to grasp at the time. When he eventually returned to his body, after those long 90 minutes, Vinney was a changed man. The future visions he had seen were not just something he would forget. They were burned into his mind. He understood life in a way that few ever would. He knew that death wasn't the end, but rather a transition. And more importantly, he knew that there was more to this life than anyone could understand. There was something greater at work, something guiding us all, even through the darkest times. The visions of September 11th and the financial crash were not just random images. They were lessons. The chaos of the world was part of something bigger, something beyond human comprehension. Vinney Tolman's near-death experience didn't just change his life, it changed how he viewed the world. He wasn't the same person who had collapsed that day. The future he had seen and the lessons he had learned gave him a deeper sense of purpose and a greater appreciation for life, love, and the unseen forces at work in the universe. And as he shared his story, it became clear that his experience wasn't just about what he saw, it was about what those visions meant. They were messages of hope, of understanding, and of the interconnectedness of all things. During Vinney Tolman's near-death experience, he wasn't just a passive observer of future events. He was also profoundly connected to a spiritual realm that transcended the physical world. As he entered what he described as the afterlife, Tolman was enveloped in a sense of peace and love that he had never experienced in life. It was as if the weight of the world had been lifted off his shoulders, and for the first time he felt truly at home. The feeling was overwhelmingly warm and comforting, like being wrapped in a loving embrace that assured him that everything was going to be okay. What struck him most profoundly about this otherworldly experience was the presence of deceased relatives. These weren't just fleeting, vague impressions of people he had lost. They were real, tangible beings with whom he could communicate. Among those he encountered was his grandmother, who had passed away years before. She appeared to him not in a distant, abstract way, but as if she were standing right before him, fully alive in a spiritual form, filled with love and kindness. Vinney's heart was filled with joy at seeing her again, and their connection felt so powerful, so real, that it left an indelible mark on his soul. He could feel an intense connection with these loved ones, these souls who had crossed over to the other side. They weren't just there to greet him, they had a message for him. His grandmother, for example, conveyed a sense of peace, telling him that he was not alone, that death was not to be feared, and that love transcended physical death. The overwhelming sense of love and peace that Vinney experienced was not just from his relatives, but from the very essence of the afterlife itself. It was a place of unconditional love, where the concept of time and space didn't exist in the way it does in the physical world. Everything was connected, and every moment was filled with the purest form of understanding. Vinney also encountered a being of light, a figure he could not fully comprehend but felt an immense reverence for. This figure, which he described as exuding immense love and wisdom, did not speak in words, but rather communicated directly with his soul. He was shown the interconnectedness of all life and the universe's infinite patterns. It was as if the veil of human perception had been lifted, and Vinney was allowed to see the broader scope of existence. He understood, on a deep, profound level, that everything and everyone is connected, that life is a continuous cycle, and that death is merely a transition into a different form of being. He saw that the universe, in all its complexity, was governed by love, and that everything had a purpose even if humans could not always comprehend it. Throughout this experience, Vinney felt a deep sense of reassurance. His doubts and fears about life, death, and the afterlife vanished as he absorbed the messages being conveyed to him. He realized that the afterlife was not a distant, abstract concept, but a real, tangible existence filled with warmth, love, and understanding. It wasn't a place of judgment or fear, as some religions and cultures portray it, but a place of peaceful continuation, a place where souls could reconnect, heal, and grow. After his return to life, the memory of these experiences stayed with Vinney, shaping his view of the world in a profound way. He understood that the love he had felt in the afterlife was not confined to that realm. It existed here on Earth as well. It was everywhere, in every interaction, in every heartbeat. The afterlife was not just a place to go after death, it was already all around him, part of the same spiritual fabric that connected all beings. Vinney Tolman's near-death experience challenges the traditional views of death and the afterlife. His vivid recollections of the afterlife, encounters with deceased relatives, and prophetic visions of future events have sparked much debate about the nature of these experiences. While many skeptics might attribute such phenomena to the brain's chemical reactions during clinical death, Tolman's experience suggests that there may be something more profound at play. For Tolman, this was not just a hallucination or a product of a dying brain. It was a deeply real spiritual journey that offered insight into the nature of existence. One popular theory that has emerged around near-death experiences like Tolman's is that they are a result of the brain shutting down during moments of crisis. Some experts propose that the lack of oxygen, coupled with the release of endorphins and other chemicals in the brain, may create vivid dreams or hallucinations. These hallucinations might be influenced by the brain's attempt to make sense of the physiological process of dying. leading to experiences like visions of deceased loved ones or the sensation of traveling through a tunnel of light. From this standpoint, Tolman's profound experiences could be viewed as nothing more than the brain's natural response to the shock of impending death. However, Tolman himself strongly disagrees with this reductionist view. He firmly believes that his NDE was not simply the result of his brain's chemical processes, but rather an encounter with a real, spiritual realm. He often speaks about the profound clarity and sense of reality he experienced during his NDE, emphasizing that it was far beyond anything he had ever felt during his waking life. He describes the afterlife as a realm of pure love and peace, where the boundaries of time and space dissolve. In this state, he felt a deep connection to the universe and a profound understanding of existence. For Tolman, these experiences weren't a figment of his imagination. They were as real as the physical world he returned to. Tolman's NDE also raises questions about the nature of consciousness itself. If the mind can have such vivid, transformative experiences while the body is clinically dead, what does this say about the nature of consciousness? Is consciousness something that can exist independently of the physical brain? Tolman's experience leads him to believe that the mind, or soul, is not merely a product of brain activity, but a separate, eternal entity that continues to exist even after the body has passed away. This view challenges the materialist perspective, which holds that consciousness is simply the byproduct of physical processes in the brain. Another theory surrounding near-death experiences like Tolman's is that they serve a purpose beyond merely providing a glimpse into the afterlife. Many who have had NDEs report feeling a heightened sense of purpose and a desire to live more meaningfully after their experience. Tolman, for instance, speaks about how his NDE changed his entire perspective on life. It gave him a new understanding of the interconnectedness of all things and a renewed sense of responsibility to live in accordance with the love and wisdom he experienced during his journey. He believes that his NDE was not just a random event, but a spiritual awakening that gave him the tools to live a more fulfilling, compassionate life. Tolman's own experience challenges the conventional scientific explanation of near-death phenomena, urging us to reconsider what we know about life, death, and the afterlife. While some may still view his experience as a product of brain activity, others are drawn to the idea that NDEs are windows into a higher spiritual reality. The theories surrounding these experiences are as varied as the people who have them, but Tolman's story suggests that there may be more to death and to life than meets the eye. For those who have had similar experiences, it provides a glimpse into a realm where love, peace, and interconnectedness reign, and where death is not an end, but a transition to a higher plane of existence. Vinney Tolman's near-death experience offers profound reassurance for those who fear death. His vivid recollections of being enveloped in a realm of love and peace, meeting deceased relatives, and feeling an overwhelming sense of connection suggest that the process of dying may be far less frightening than many anticipate. For Tolman, his NDE was not an end, but a continuation of life in a different form. The love he experienced during his journey assured him that death was not something to fear, but rather a transition to a state of greater peace and understanding. Tolman's story offers comfort, especially to those who are grieving the loss of loved ones. His experiences suggest that the people we care about don't simply disappear after death, but continue to exist in some form, offering reassurance to the living. His encounter with deceased relatives serves as a reminder that death is not the end of connection, but rather the beginning of a new chapter in the journey of the soul. For many, this insight brings a sense of peace and hope, reinforcing the belief that life continues beyond what we can see and understand. Vinney Tolman's near-death experience had a profound and lasting impact on his life, shaping his worldview in ways that many could never imagine. After being clinically dead for 90 minutes, Tolman not only witnessed future events but also had deep life-changing encounters with the deceased, including his relatives. These experiences led him to a profound understanding of the afterlife, one that was far beyond anything he had previously believed or imagined. The visions he saw, such as the 9/11 attacks and the 2008 financial crisis, had a lasting effect on him, as they were not only deeply unsettling, but also pointed to something greater, a spiritual reality that transcended the physical world. Following his NDE, Tolman found himself compelled to speak about his experience and share his story with others. He became an outspoken advocate for near-death experience (NDE) research, dedicating much of his time to spreading awareness about the potential for life after death. Tolman began speaking publicly, giving interviews, and writing about the insights he gained during his time in the afterlife. His message was clear: death is not an end, but rather a transition to another realm, a continuation of existence that is filled with love, peace, and an undeniable connection to something greater than ourselves. Tolman's journey did not end with his own personal transformation. His experience deeply affected those around him. As he shared his story, countless individuals reached out to him, expressing how his account of the afterlife gave them peace and comfort, especially those who were grappling with the loss of loved ones. His words provided them with a new perspective on death, helping them overcome their fear of the unknown and embrace the idea that death is merely a step in a much larger journey. The impact of his NDE extended to Tolman's own family life as well. He became more attuned to the spiritual dimension of his relationships, often sharing his insights with his family members, urging them to cherish their time together, and reminding them of the importance of love and connection. He emphasized that life's purpose goes beyond material accomplishments, urging others to focus on spiritual growth and deepening their relationships with one another. Through his advocacy and public speaking, Tolman has helped people from all walks of life explore their own spirituality, pushing them to think beyond the physical world. His advocacy for NDE research continues to inspire many, as his message resonates with anyone searching for meaning and purpose. His story serves as a beacon of hope for those struggling with existential questions and the fear of death, showing them that there is something more beyond this life, a continuation, a deeper understanding, and an eternal connection with the divine. Vinney Tolman's near-death experience, while deeply personal, has become a source of inspiration and enlightenment for many. His message is simple yet profound. Life is not about what we accumulate or achieve in the physical world, but about our spiritual journey, our growth, and our connections with others. By embracing the mysteries of life and death, Tolman has shown us that there is so much more to existence than we could ever imagine. His experience has left an indelible mark on those who have heard his story, encouraging them to explore the spiritual realm and live their lives with purpose, love, and faith in what lies beyond the physical world.